Hello, everyone. Welcome to Learning with Friends. I'm Pat Fairless from Fairless Stamp and Flair, and I have a technique today called embossed border, and I'm going to show you how to make a card with an embossed border. It's really easy if you know how to emboss and use a paper snips. You can do this. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm going to flip my camera over to the other view. Okay. I'm going to be using, for the card I'm going to demonstrate, I'm going to use this Quiet Meadow stamp set. I was kind of late to the party coming to this stamp set. I don't know why. I looked at it, and I didn't really buy it until probably 3-4 months ago. So I love it. It's great. And we are going to use this particular flower right here. So I've got that mounted on my clear block, and I am using Berry Burst cardstock. And we are going to stamp a series of these flowers down along one edge. Now I'm going to flip it horizontal, just a little easier for some reason for me to work with. And I'm going to put a little bit of temporary adhesive. I like to do this when I'm stamping multiple times, and I just want it not to move on me. So I'm going to put a little temporary adhesive on the back. It'll rub right off. And we are going to stamp this with Versamark. Now, before we do that, we definitely want to use our embossing buddy. I have one card I'm going to show you. I actually have 3 cards total to show you. That I forgot to use my embossing buddy, and you can tell, but it's okay. I have a brand new Versamark I just opened prior to this, so isn't it nice and clean and lovely? Sometimes they get kind of grody looking, right? But we're going to stamp this along the bottom, and we want to try to get the full flower onto the cardstock, and we want them fairly close together, touching if possible. Now, I'll be honest, this is easier with a photopolymer stamp, which a couple of the other cards I made used, because you can actually then see where your image is. But I know the image is maybe 1/8 of an inch in from my rubber, so I am just going to kind of eyeball it and call it close enough. You want it close because we're eventually going to cut this out. And we want them kind of connected. If they're not totally connected, it's not a huge deal. I had a couple that weren't, and you can just cut a section between them. Now this one I actually overlapped. I think it'll be fine. You also want to make sure, as you stamp this, that you don't have your flowers, because we're going to cut this border out, that you don't have your flowers stamped off the edge. At least in my opinion, you kind of want them all to be on there. So, and that is the stamping part of it. So let me bring in my tray here, and I'm going to use white embossing powder. And I'm just going to kind of dump this over this. I just like to pour it on. I know some people are really stingy with how much they put on me. I just like to dump. Now, even though I used my embossing buddy, I don't know if you can see it, but I have a couple little spots here that it's still kind of stuck to. So we can always take our little brush, and the Stampin' Up set does have a brush. I have it. I just don't know what I did with it. No. So, okay, so let's go ahead, set that aside, and bring in my heat tool. And we will emboss this. So this is the other tool that comes with your embossing tray. You get this, you get the little brush and the tray. And this is nice to hold it with. So this is going to get a little loud. I apologize. So I'm just going to heat this until it turns glossy. Takes a minute or so to warm up. And you can see when it starts to turn a brighter white that it's melted. So then I just move it along and let it continue to all turn white. Now I know some people will say to keep this moving so you don't burn it. When I do that, I have a harder time telling when it turns because it all starts to turn at the same time. And I think it's easier just to slowly move it along and watch it as it turns. So let's look at that. Yeah, you can see where I overlap these, but it'll be fine. I think it looks, I'm going to flip it around here so the light shines on it. I think it looks good. So now the next step is to take our paper snips and we are just going to fussy cut this edge. Now I am not a wonderful fussy cutter. I don't mind doing it. I'm a little slow. So it will take me a minute or so here to cut this. The trick with fussy cutting, as I'm sure many people have told you, is to hold your paper snip still and move your cardstock. Sometimes that's easier said than done if your scissors gets a little caught in there, right? You go into these corners, like this one coming up here. You know, I'm supposed to just rotate my cardstock and sometimes it catches. But it's all right. And you know what will really help is if I put these on. Oh, I need my reading glasses these days. So I'm just going to work my way around here. I usually like to leave a little bit of a border. As opposed to cutting right on either the stamped line or in this case the embossed line. I don't know, I like the little bit of an edge around there. So the other thing is the camera's kind of like right in my way, so I hope you can see this. I'm trying to stay in frame here. My tendency is to pull this up close to my face. And closer to my body where I have better control with my cutting. But we're almost there. We're going to make it. And it's stuck again. I'm always afraid I'm going to tear it. Like, wouldn't it be awful if I tore that little corner off? I mean, it's not the end of the world, but there is our embossed border. Isn't that pretty? I'm gonna just go ahead and adhere this to a piece of crumb cake. This is Berry Burst. I am using Berry Burst crumb cake and soft sea foam. And now I don't need those glasses anymore. Are you like me if you wear reading glasses? Put them on, take them off. Put them on, take them off. Take them off, go look for them. Because you don't remember where you laid them down, right? All right, my stamp and seal today is giving me a problem. I should have a spare over here. All right. I am going to use my liquid glue. Either works fine. I usually just prefer the stamp and seal because I don't get as much all over my fingers. Now you're going to want to center this to the three sides. Don't worry about the other side. It is where it is, and it will vary depending on how far away from the edge you embossed your flowers in this case. So now let's add a piece of ribbon. I've made this card before, and I did it in landscape mode. This time I think I'm going to try it in portrait mode. So let's just put, I don't have enough of this crumb cake ribbon. I'm going to try to put it here where I overlap those two flowers, then no one will ever know. And this is my last little piece of this ribbon. Now, where do I want this bow? Do I want it over here or over here? I think I'm going to put it over here. This is my last little piece of this ribbon. I think it just retired, but it's really nice ribbon and very easy to tie. And I am just going to tie it in a knot as opposed to a bow. I guess a double knot you could call it. Pull it tight. And I didn't bring my good ribbon scissors, so we'll see if I can do it. Oh, it's working okay with my paper snips. Lots of times once you cut paper, then those scissors do not like to cut fabric or ribbon or anything but paper. My mom used to get mad at me if I used her good sewing scissors cutting paper. So now we need a sentiment. Let's just go ahead. I embossed a sentiment. It's from the same Quiet Meadow stamp set. It's this one down here, heartfelt love and caring thoughts of you. And I think we're just going to stick it about right there with some dimensionals. And I'm going to show you my first card I made too. I used the same colors. I mixed them up a little bit differently. And like I said, it is in landscape, where this one I'm going to do in portrait mode. It's pretty straight. And now we want some more dimensionals on the back before to mount it to my card front. I am a dimensional holic. I love using dimensionals. I think it adds a lot to even a very simple little card, just by giving it a little bit of depth. And I probably use way more than I need, but I don't want to get it smashed funny in the mail. So let's pull these off. I did bring my take my pick tool today. You think I can do it this way? I don't usually do it this way. No, I can't. I better practice that before I show it to you guys. I just use my thumbnail and I toss them off to the side and clean up the mess later. So can I get that one? All right. So let's stick this on the front. I guess that's pretty well centered, equally on all sides. I think we need a little bit of bling on here. I didn't really know what to add, so I'm just going to use some of these large iridescent gems and add one to the center of each. Can I use the, will this work? Yeah, we'll put one on the center of each flower where I have a full center. Okay, those look pretty on there. That gives it just a little bit of sparkle. So then let's go ahead. I had my sentiment attached or finished, stamped and finished, but I didn't attach it because I wasn't sure if I was going to do another portrait mode or stay with the landscape. And how many of you have made the front of your card one way and then when you made the inside, you made it the opposite way? I bet we all have done that. I know I have many, many times, more times than I can remember or care to admit. I don't know why that is, but it happens. All right, let's add this to the inside of the card. I could have stamped some flowers in here. I decided to just keep it simple. So it doesn't take me forever to show you. I mentioned last week I am a very slow stamper. So making a whole card is a challenge for me to try to get it into my goal time of maybe 20 minutes maximum. Okay, there is a finished embossed border card. Isn't that kind of fun, pretty? So that's my first card. Let me show you the landscape mode one. That's this one. I use the exact same colors. I flipped out on this one. I used the crumb cake for the card base, and the soft seafoam is behind the berry burst. And here I just reversed the two. I don't know. Do you have a preference? Which one do you like best? I don't know. They have a different feel to them. This is bright, has a white iridescent ribbon, and I have these flat adhesive back pearls, which are also kind of iridescent on there. So it has a very different look. This one's a little brighter and cheery maybe than the crumb cake. The crumb cake's more subtle. Here is another card I made. I used the Handmade Hugs stamp set for this, and I used these two stamps here as well as the sentiment. And these are embossed with black on basic white cardstock, and then I just cut this around here and mounted it on black. This is one of my favorite color combinations, black and white with a little pop of red. In this case, I used Sweet Sorbet. I had the Sweet Sorbet ribbon, and these little hearts are Sweet Sorbet from the Be Mine suite. So I thought those were cute on there. And this will be sent to cheer someone up. And I have one more. This is my whimsical one. I used the little monkeys. Thought this turned out really cute. I used one of each of the three little monkeys. These are embossed with gold embossing powder. And I did come back and color them with pecan pie. It is on a pecan pie cardstock. They needed a little life, so I used pecan pie Stampin' Blends and came in and just gave them a little bit of highlighting. It darkened them up a little bit. Their faces and their ears are petal pink, and I embossed that with gold as well, and then cut those out of the petal pink. These are some of the dies or the stamps that are in the little monkeys. There are no dies, so these had to be fussy cut. So, but I thought that turned out cute. That one was kind of fun and my little bit of a whimsical one. So I don't know. What do you think? Between the two berry burst ones, do you have a favorite? Which color combination do you like best? I don't know. I'm leaning towards this one with the pretty white ribbon, but I think they both are nice. So there we go. That's what we have for today for our embossed border technique. Let me go back and flip my camera over here. And thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you give this a try. If you're, like I said, if you know how to emboss, and have paper snips and can do a little fussy cutting, it's really simple and easy. And you can use any kind of stamps really that will fit. I would say you probably want at least 3 of them along the edge of your cardstock to create a border. But play around and have some fun with it. I hope you give it a try. If you like the video, you give me a thumbs up. And I will be back next week with something else. I'm not sure what it'll be. But hopefully it'll be something fun that you'll enjoy. So we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.